Season's greetings from the Fast Break Kids. I am Wiley Lewis and welcome to the show. This is my week 13 picks of the NFL season, and let me tell you folks, feeling pretty good. Really hot week last week, and by hot I don't mean it was attractive, I mean it was successful. 13-3 with my picks, and I actually had the first the morning games and Thanksgiving games all correct. And then stupid Seattle and a few other teams decided to ruin the party. Now, as of today, I am 106, 69, and 2 on the season. Cowboys and Vikings are playing currently right now, so I'll start with that pick. I'm going to take the Cowboys. Game just started, so there's no, oh, he's cheating or anything like that. Taking the Cowboys. I think they can move to 11-1. Very good. Minnesota looked much better against Detroit on Thanksgiving, but Sam Bradford, what a terrible interception he threw at the end of that game to basically cinch it for the Lions. It was a heartbreaker for the Vikings in that game, and it's a quality team, good defense, but Sam Bradford, they're not letting him throw deep. They're not really giving him the full reins of the offense. And I get that because they just acquired him this year, but got to let the man throw the ball. You don't want to have him be another Alex Smith. And I'll get to that guy later. Anyways, also, if you're a Minnesota fan, maybe you're a little happy that he hasn't done so well because there are a few reports, like, hey, maybe Bradford could be better than Bridgewater. I think not. I think Bridgewater's spot is safe on the Vikings team as that quarterback. Hopefully, he can get healthy and be back by next year. Now, let's move forward to our Sunday morning games. Up first, Kansas City at Atlanta. Now, both teams coming off pretty big wins. I mean, Atlanta beat the Cardinals. It wasn't very surprising. I think it was surprising maybe how bad they beat them, but them getting the W wasn't a shocker at all. They really pretty much dominated the Cardinals from start to finish. And then you go to Kansas City, who had one heck of a game against Denver. It was back and forth. It went into overtime. They exchanged field goals. And then we had a missed field goal by Denver. And then Kansas City to win it the last second, doinks it off the crossbar, but it barely goes in. It was a roller coaster ride. But the strange thing, it was also one of the more boring, exciting games you'll see. And if you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There were huge stretches of just nothing going on. And that was to be expected. These are two of the top defenses in the league with Denver and Kansas City. But, folks, Alex Smith is just brutal to watch. And I was tweeting about it the whole game. So if you follow me, you know. And that's not to say he's terrible. Again, he is the rule. If you are worse than Alex Smith, you cannot win a game for your team. If you are better than Alex Smith, you can win a game for your team. He is right there in the middle. He is the face of mediocrity. And frankly, despite the fact that Kansas City won that game, it is so hard to trust that man at the quarterback position. I will say this, that final drive when they scored the touchdown and just barely eke into overtime, I think he saved his spot for a while. And that's not to say he's being close to being replaced, but next year they're going to be looking for somebody. There's no way they're going to be okay with Alex Smith unless they go to the Super Bowl or something like that. And I think it saved his spot for a while. He is the starter, at least going into next year as well. But if they pick someone up, they draft somebody, clock's ticking, buddy. I'm going to take the Falcons. At home, I like it. They looked so dominant last week. And Kansas City, despite the fact that they did win, I don't know. I think it finally catches up to them this week. And I think Atlanta gets some good. Close, but I think Atlanta takes it. So, oh, gosh. Oh, so I was so excited about that Kansas City Falcons game. And I realized the next game that I'm going to talk about is the toilet bowl itself. 49ers at Chicago. Oof. 3 wins combined. Both teams had opportunities to win the game last week. San Francisco was stopped at about the 2-yard line against Miami to end it. And then Chicago, my gosh, just gave it away. I mean, or should I say dropped it away. If you watch that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Chicago probably had 3 different opportunities to score a touchdown late in that game and basically win it. But drops. Poor Matt Barkley came in to start, did admirably, got his team down the field, put it right on his wide receiver's chest several times in the end zone, and every single time they dropped it, it was brutal to watch. Just letting Tennessee get away with a win like that, especially hard for me to watch AFC South teams just skirt by with these wins when I watch my Jaguars just blow it every time, every week. I'm going to take Chicago. I think Jordan Howard has a tremendous day. If you got him in fantasy, I'd fire him up. San Francisco has, I believe, the worst rushing defense in the league pretty easily by a wide margin. So I think he has a big game. I think Barkley plays pretty well, and I think Bears take it at home. Philadelphia at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is absolutely self-destructing. It is really hard to watch. I'm going to take Philadelphia. Even though they lost to Green Bay, like I said, I always say Green Bay, they're very up and down because of the rookie quarterback situation. They go how Carson Wentz goes. He didn't do so well. Green Bay beat him last week. I'm taking him this week on the road. Denver at Jacksonville. I'm taking Denver. Not even going to get into that. Lions at New Orleans. Both teams, I think, quietly having good years. Now, different records. You know, we're looking at Detroit with a 7-4 record sitting at the top of the NFC North. And then you've got the New Orleans Saints who are 5-6. Now, they're sub 500, but you got to understand this is a team that looked terrible last year. Just awful. Defense, which was essentially garbage last year, actually improving, looking pretty good this year, playing better. Drew Brees lighting it up as usual. Michael Thomas, new number 1. That dude is a stud. Okay, they got Willie Snead throwing touchdowns and such. It's just good vibes coming from New Orleans despite the losing record. And they're going to try to make a push for this NFC South. Now, I don't think they're going to get there. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They might get close, but I don't think they're going to get there. But next year, I think they take that next step. With Drew Brees, they don't have a lot of time. The window is closing. But if the defense can get better next year, offense stays explosive, they can make a run next year. Look for the Saints. I'm going to take the Lions, though, in this game because Detroit playing a little better. And frankly, I've said it all year, they're finding ways to win games. Every single game they have been in this year, they have trailed in the fourth quarter. And they have won 7 of those games. That's impressive. That is Oakland Raiders-esque, and I'll get to them later. I'm going to take the Lions here. Houston. The phony Texans travel to Green Bay, where nobody knows what the heck's going on with the Packers. They finally get off their skid. Losing skid against Philadelphia on Monday night. I did not expect them to win that game, but they did. Aaron Rodgers put in a good performance, and they took the W. And I like the Packers in this because, as I have always said, you cannot trust the Texans. Brock Osweiler is terrible. Just awful. I saw a stat today. I believe their last 9 or 10 quarterbacks have had a better quarterback rating than Brock Osweiler has. And they spent over $70 million on this guy. So good for you, Houston. Keep it up. Sincerely, Jacksonville. So I'm going to take the Packers. Rams at New England. I'm taking New England. I'm going to get into that. Jeff Fisher is good as fired as Josh predicted at the beginning of the season. Miami traveling to Baltimore. I'm going to take the Ravens. Now, I don't think the Ravens are very good. They're solid, which is what their record suggests. They're 6-5. They're pretty solid. Miami, though, almost loses to San Francisco at home last week. I think this is where Miami starts to fold. This would be a vintage Miami fold job at the end of the season because they've looked good as of late. Jay Ajayi's been running strong. But can we trust Miami? Do we really think they're going to continue this streak, 6-game winning streak, further into this regular season and possibly into the playoffs? I don't know. The defense is playing pretty well, but I don't know. And I'm going to take the Ravens simply because Harbaugh knows how to win late in the season. He knows how to win in these winter, December, January games. Flacco's not very good, but they just find ways to win. And I think they're going to find a way to win at home against Miami. And by the way, last week, John Harbaugh he successfully ended the game against Cincinnati by having his players hold all of the Cincinnati Bengals players until the clock ran out, drawing like 10 holding calls. But it worked because the game can't end on an offense, or the game can't be prolonged because of an offensive penalty. So NFL, please change that rule. Please change that rule. It needs to be the team that gets penalized, or no, the team that doesn't get penalized should get the opportunity to decide if they want to end the game or if they want to extend it because of the other team's penalty. That's what it needs to be. It shouldn't matter if it's offensive or defensive. The other team should just get the choice if they want to end it or extend it. NFL, get it right, change the rule. That's not the way you want to see a game end. That's all I'm saying. Buffalo, traveling to Oakland. Buffalo and Oakland. Buffalo, as all Jacksonville opponents have done this year, barely squeezing out a game at the end because Jacksonville just finds a way to blow it. That's not to say they're not playing well. I like Buffalo. They've been playing well, but I'm going to take the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are just on fire. You just can't stop them at this point. It doesn't matter if you dislocate Derek Carr's finger in 2 different places. He still somehow finds a way to win. And if you've seen the video, it's pretty gross looking at his finger all jacked up like that. But props to him. He came back, said it was like the worst pain he's ever felt. Came back in, threw some touchdowns, won that game after they lost the lead against Carolina when he was out. So, Raiders, just win, baby. They're doing it. They're just winning, and it's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I'm taking the Raiders. New York Giants at Pittsburgh. New York 8-3 now, basically on fire. I don't know how. I've said it in the past few weeks. I don't know how they're this record. It just kind of happened. It kind of sneaks up on you. But, you know, Eli's played well. Defense has played well. They didn't look great last week. But then again, I think that's their whole thing. It doesn't matter if it's pretty or ugly as long as they get the job done. And they are getting the job done. That being said, I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I like Pittsburgh. Pixar has a new team, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers. I like Big Ben at home. Le'Veon Bell is just a machine. He can do it all. And you'd have to consider him top running back up there with David Johnson and Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to take the Steelers. I like him at home. Like I've said before, they are great at home, especially Big Ben. His numbers suggest that. I'm going to take it, and hopefully they do good things for my fantasy team as well. Fantasy playoffs are coming up. Get ready, people. Washington going to Arizona. Arizona. Tears for Arizona. I feel bad for him. Bruce Arians not happy. He's not used to losing, so I think the whole team is frustrated as a whole. Kirk Cousins has been playing out of his mind lately. He will be getting a contract extension from Washington. Just fantastic play. Almost pulled it out on Thanksgiving against Dallas, but not enough there. I don't think Washington is a great team. They are a pretty good team. I think no matter how the season ends, if they finish 2 games, they finish 9-7, maybe 10 wins, I still consider it a success for that team because I don't think a lot of people thought that they would build on last year. I think I, for one, thought last year was going to be a fluke. Despite the fact that I picked them to win the division, I thought, seemed like a fluky year for them. The whole division was bad, but I'm going to take the Redskins in this game. You just can't trust the Cardinals right now. And it's not one thing. It's not just Carson Palmer. It's the whole team. There's just something's off about this season. Tampa Bay traveling to San Diego. Both teams coming off big wins. San Diego beating Houston at home, as I predicted, because they are phony, Houston, after all. But you just love the Chargers. They're 5-6, but they're a team you don't want to play right now. Phillip Rivers hasn't been great, and they've still been winning. The defense has been just takeaway machine, and they've just been playing great all the way around. Now, Tampa Bay, coming off of the biggest win of their year easily, absolutely shutting down Seattle, which might be the most impressive performance a defense has had this season, I think, because Russell Wilson has been on fire lately. They've just been destroying people. They beat the Patriots. What was it, last week? I mean, Russell Wilson could not be stopped. He could not be stopped. Doug Baldwin, I mean, they were just throwing it all over the field. Jimmy Graham. And for Tampa Bay to limit them to 5 points is absolutely amazing. And it's very impressive. And it's going to be another big step forward for this young franchise. I like Jameis Winston. He's a little up and down. Like I said, a key component of any young quarterback is typically he is up and down, a little unpredictable, uneven play. But he is very talented. He can make explosive plays, especially with Mike Evans out there, who's just a beast. I'm taking the Chargers. This could go either way. Both these teams very talented. Could go either way. I'm just banking on the fact that Tampa Bay had a huge high beating the Seattle Seahawks last week. I think they dropped down and had a letdown game against San Diego. Panthers at Seattle. I'm taking Seattle. Not even going to get into it. Seattle beats them up at home. Gets some revenge for last week's inept offense. And then finally, Monday night, you can basically go ahead and gouge your eyes out instead of watch this game. Indianapolis at New York playing the Jets. I'm taking the Jets. Lord knows why. Have no idea why I'm going to do it, but both teams are pretty bad. The Colts team as a whole is a travesty, with or without Andrew Luck. So I'm going to take the Jets, and I don't know why. So those are my picks. Hopefully they go well. Get a good streak going here with consecutive successful weeks. Stay tuned. All right, we're starting a new series for the holiday season. It's called the 12 Days of Fast Break. We will be counting down the days till Christmas, celebrating all the wonderful things about sports and all the wonderful things that they give to us and bless us with every year. Because let's face it, folks, sports, they're a blessing. Just so much fun and enjoyable to have, and a great thing to watch instead of any sort of political crap. So, thank you for tuning in. I am Wiley Lewis. This has been the Fast Break, kids. Keep it clean, keep it fresh, keep it fun. See you next time.